everybody, and welcome back to Someday I'll Have a Podcast. My name is Ren. I am your host, and I am going to be very vulnerable today. And I honestly don't know how this episode will be received because it's going to have a lot to do with recognizing my privilege as a white woman in America, in the US right now. It's also, I'm pausing here because I don't know, it's a difficult conversation, but I want to make it a conversation. I genuinely want to hear from you. No matter your background, I want to hear your personal experiences, and I really do want to open this up for conversation. So whether it's in the comment section on whatever platform you're listening to this, whether it's in my DMs, I always have my Instagram linked in the show notes. But there's a lot going on in the world right now, and that's true regardless of what stance you have in politics or whatnot. There is a lot of craziness happening, specifically in the United States. I mean, obviously, that's the point of view in which I'm coming from because this is where I'm situated in the world. So this is really the only experience that I can speak on. But even talking like recently, y'all, we have had some crazy weather. I'm currently living in South Carolina at the time of recording this, and we've had some really freezing temperatures and snow, which is very unlike the South. And even as far south as Miami, it's pretty dang cold. I mean, they're reaching temperatures of 32 degrees. And I know this specifically because I'm going to camp there this weekend. I also know that after speaking with a lot of my students, I teach English as a second language to people all around the world. And after speaking with some of my students, the cataclysm that is this freezing weather, Arctic feeling, it's not just here. It's not just in the United States. We've had some very crazy weather all over the world. So from that perspective, yeah, there's a lot going on. Also from the perspective of the cosmos, if we want to speak, scientifically, astrologically, about the full moon and the shifting of the energy. And when I say that, I mean we are slowly moving into shifting from the year of the snake to the year of the fire horse. There is a lot of energy shifts there. Also, I'm not super invested or knowledgeable about a lot of those cosmic shifts, but I've read a lot and heard a lot from people who are knowledgeable about it. Just that there's a lot happening astrologically in our space. And then also the elephant in the room, there's a lot happening politically, socially, communally, environmentally in our space, our human space. And I basically want to come here to just kind of discuss hope and life and humanity and how we can move through this time with respect and honoring the really hard, horrible things, balancing that with life. And I guess I feel like I'm having a little bit of trouble expressing what I'm trying to say. And I think it's because it's a difficult topic. To be just so honest and straightforward and to attack the elephant in the room per se, there have been some murders on behalf of the government and some really horrific displays of patriotism, may I say. May I dare to express this as? There's also been a lot of backlash. There's been a lot of protests, as there should be, against ICE, for example, against, a lot of people begging for the Epstein files to be released because we're finally paying attention and recognizing that the people that we've given our power to for so long maybe don't deserve it, or maybe aren't worthy of our praise and our affection and our trust. There's a lot of things breaking down. And so part of me feels this guilt. And I know this may be met with, I don't know if backlash is the right word, but criticism, that I will receive some criticism for expressing this and saying this. It's that white guilt, right? As noted, as I expressed, I am a white woman living in the United States. I recognize I have a lot of privilege. I feel guilt celebrating life in a way that, for example, I just went on this music festival cruise and it was phenomenal. I had so much fun and I celebrated life. I danced all weekend. I made so many new friends. But in some ways, I feel guilty for having that privilege and for celebrating in such a time when there are so many uncertainties, when there are people getting ripped away from their homes, from their families, simply for existing. I suppose I'm coming on here to A, give myself a little bit of accountability, but also B, to ask for help, ask for education. Where do we turn? How can I guess, use these really intense emotions of both celebration of being alive in this insane time, and also how do I honor and respect the things that are happening, and how do I help people? How can I use my voice? How can I use a platform? How can I exist in both of these realms? How can I recognize the things that are happening without completely losing hope and going into a deep, dark spiral of what's the opposite of hope? Despair? Is it useful to keep a positive outlook on life and mindset? Is it useful to try and share that and shout that from the rooftops? Is it useful to go into these spaces of celebration and celebrate and live, Or is that tone deaf? How can I move through this time and utilize my privilege in a way that is actually helpful to people that are marginalized, people that are being outcasted for no reason, people that are being the scapegoats for these very greedy, powerful people? And so I guess more than anything, this episode is about asking questions. Maybe I'm not here to give you encouragement or to advise you of anything this time around. Maybe I'm the one, maybe this episode is acting as a cry for help in a lot of ways. And how can we open this conversation? If we can open this conversation, if I can actively have people respond, I can open this up to have other voices on this podcast, to use this vessel to enhance the voices of others and uplift others and learn together. So maybe therefore this can be a vessel for learning in a part 2 or something like that. Because genuinely, I'm operating in this weird middle ground of my own safety net because of how I show up in this world and the privileges that I was born into for absolutely no reason at all. For no reason have I been awarded these privileges. In no way did I earn these privileges, right? This middle ground between this and the deep hurt and fear I hold in my heart for people, for humanity, right? And so what is the bridge? What is the bridge to the next thing? Without this white saviorism element, how can I be of use? How can I support people and dismantle governments? And what are the actions that I can take? These are my questions. And in addition, I think the celebration aspect, the engaging in fun and laughter and dancing, I do think that is necessary to some extent, because joy is an act of rebellion and love is an act of rebellion, and truly celebrating these are the systems that are in place they're working so hard to keep us on a lower frequency, to keep us scared. And when I say us, I mean humanity. Again, as someone with these privileges and these social identities and the way I show up in the world, I am not the target for these giant processes right now. I am not the target of ICE. I am not the target of these. I am not always the target of these legislations that are being passed. In some ways, yes, because as a woman being stripped of reproductive rights, and if I had changed my last name, potentially voting rights, there's a lot on the line here, right? But as a woman, I am specifically with ICE and all the insane, absolutely horrendous things happening, I am not the target. So when I say us, I'm saying how can we collectively How can I be a part of the collective to raise that frequency, keep the frequency high so that we can love and we can fight for what is right. We can fight for each other. We can fight for our families and our friends. The systems in place are designed to keep us down, to keep us from acting, to keep us from essentially overthrowing the government. And it's unfortunate that this episode or this podcast in general will only reach the audiences of the people who might probably already align with my ideas, my thought processes. And it is very unfortunate because we are in a time that is not about right or left, Democrat or Republican, this or that. Like, it's not. We are in a time of, it's so much bigger than that. And we need the collective energy. We need the collective. We need to tear down these blinders we have on, these labels we have put on ourselves and each other, and recognize what is happening. Really see what is happening. And I know, believe me, it is so easy to get, I don't know if blinded is the right word, to be caught up in our own points of view and be so connected to a label, whether it is a label we put on ourselves or a label that someone else has put on us. It is so easy to be so wrapped up in, well, I'm a Republican, so this is what I believe. Okay, but listen. Or I'm a Democrat and this is what I believe. Okay, but listen. Look, take away that label for a moment. Look at what is happening. Really look at what is going on in the world around us. Take a moment, investigate in your own brain, not based on what everyone else is telling you. Investigate in your own brain to the basics. Break it down. Is this okay? Is this right? Is this human? And I don't try to break everything into a binary of good or bad or this or that or blah, blah, blah. I try my hardest not to. Look at what's happening. Does this action align with your beliefs? For you, is this what is happening, what we see happening? Are these actions, are these laws, are these legislations, do these align with what the world that you want to live in? Because every individual one of us is playing a role, no matter big or small. We are. Whether it be by staying silent or making a scene or our votes or where we're putting our money, every single one of us has power to the people, right? And I think it's easy to believe it's not like that anymore, or times have changed. It is up to us to harness that power. And now I feel like I've just been going off on a tangent, but with all of that being said, let's make this a conversation. I want to know actionable steps. I want to be on the front lines making change. So how do we do that? Is it through celebration and finding your excitement in the little things? Is that the most effective thing that I can do right now, is bring laughter and smiles to people? Or is it the complete opposite? Should I be putting all of my energy and platform into building an audience that will trust me when I say, call your senators and contact your local government to make change? Like, or is it all of the above? And how can we collectively come together and do that? I want your answers. I want your participation, because it does matter. Every single one of us. Okay, drop in the ocean. You can't have the ocean without every single drop that's in there. It's pretty simple. Every single one of us has a voice. We need to use it. And so I'm asking, how can we do that? What is your advice? What has been effective for you? How can we come together? What can we build? And how do we find hope? I actually currently am in a class about finding radical hope in this time of uncertainty, in these times of fear, and in these times of questions and systems breaking down and systems being built to keep us quiet. Like, how can we find hope, and why is hope important? That is the basis. And I can actually I could put some links in the show notes about like the course and when it will become available next, because we're currently, in the middle of it. But it is important. And it's the start. If we all just sit here and decide that we're hopeless, man, nothing will change and they'll win. All of the systems that are being put against us, they will win. They will take the power that they don't deserve, right? And so individuals, power to the people. Where do we go from here? How can we do that? Let's use our collective energy and power together. I am so serious about this. And so as we close out this episode, the song recommendation I'm going to give you, it's actually not on repeat as it usually is from my library, my playlists. It's an electronic song. Trance is the, I guess, subgenre, and it's by the artist Above and Beyond. The track is called Bigger Than All of Us with Above and Beyond and Justine Suissa. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's beautiful and it will inspire hope. It will inspire hope. And that's what we need. It's a place to start. It's a place to start. And I'm looking forward to continuing to learn from you all. And I'd just like to end this by saying word of mouth is so important in so many things. And if you find this to be helpful or a valuable conversation in any way, please share this episode. Let's work together. Okay. Share this episode with a friend, put it on your story, tag me, whatever it might be. Let's make waves. Let's make waves. Let's make changes collectively. Okay. It takes a village. It takes a damn village. It does. Okay. Thank you so much for being here and hearing me out and contributing, participating in this conversation. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.